This is Agent versus Lender.
Let's get ready to rumble! If you're a top real estate agent, broker, lender, or coach, this is your podcast. This is Agent versus Lender. If it's about real estate or the lending industry, it's fair game. This is Agent versus Lender. And now the hosts, Ron Pippin and Taylor Archibald.
Welcome to another episode of Agent versus Lender. And today we have with us Jeff Tomlinson from Equity Real Estate. Welcome to the podcast, Jeff.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
Awesome. So, we oftentimes we're just going to fire some questions at you. But tell us a little bit about you, how you got started in the business.
Yeah. Well, I've been in the business for 17 years and initially did some other things that kind of led me to this path, and was in construction for a while. So I got kind of a background into home building and done various things on homes as far as construction goes. And then prior to that, got my degree up at our local University, Weber State, and had different careers from project managers to software development to facility managers, as well as some other career paths. And over time, through 9/11, I don't remember if you remember that period, but that's kind of a challenge for a lot of us.
Totally remember that period, man. I can remember right where I was when I heard that those planes hit those towers and watched as the second one. So I totally remember that.
Yeah. Well, I was in the computer industry at that time, and we never fully recovered from that. It was a lot of ups and downs, and I had actually experienced 4 layoffs in a matter of 4 years, and I just got old. And I says, I've got to do something that I feel like I knew I could probably do, and try a different venture, to go out there and to, try something on my own. Because I think we have a false premise when we work for somebody that everything's all safe and sound, and, I do my job, I'll have a job for my whole career. Not so. And so because of that, I just thought, well, what resources do I have, and what could I do to move forward to still make a decent living? And real estate came across my mind because of some acquaintance I had. So I got licensed and started going at it. Just started pounding doors and everything I could to make things happen. And over time, that was when I got into it. Is when actually when the boom happened, as far as real estate here local. With all those. 2000, of course, we were building right before the crash, right?
Yeah, they were building crazy before the crash.
It was, and I had several investors we were working with and stuff, and they were coming here to Utah, and we were getting them involved with some of their programs because they took some training as far as do real estate investments and how to build wealth and so on and so forth. And that went pretty good for a while. It was good. We got involved with a lot of builders and investors, and things were going well. But then there was, this collusion stuff, and then of inflated pricing. And then, of course, we experienced that crash that just changed our whole market forever, more or less. And then that was a big challenging times, because it went from a really great market to just a disaster. And then we went through our foreclosure short sale industry, which was a nightmare, I felt. You start a process of purchasing a home, or if you're on the seller side selling a home, which could lead to anywhere from 6 to 18 months to get a deal done, one deal, so you have to have a lot in your pipeline.
Yeah, I remember that. It's I worked at a bank about that time, and it's really funny how they would say that the banks wouldn't give you an answer. And quite honestly, it wasn't in their best interest to give an answer right away, because they're going to take a haircut on those homes. And so that had to go on their books. And so sometimes it was a matter of strategic offer acceptance, because they didn't want to show that big, huge losses on their books. And so that's why sometimes it took so long. So it's just it was just a crazy time.
Well, and it was there wasn't just one or two. I mean, when you had about 35% or so of our market was the short sales, how do you go about the whole process of taking a property and evaluate it? What's it really worth, right? And then you had to go to the asset manager to get their approval, and then they pass that on for another approval, and have it take so long, then that sometimes the original asset manager no longer worked there. So you almost had to start over sometimes. And yeah, it was just a real difficult time for everybody. I don't think anybody just enjoyed that. And nobody, in my opinion, made very much money during that time, as far as there was so many different directions of what to do and how to do everything. Everybody was on this huge learning curve. And fortunately, that went away after a few years, but hopefully that doesn't come back now that our current situation is what's going on with our market right now. That kind of worries me as to what COVID has done for employment stake, and what's going to happen to all those mortgages.
So do you think do you think we're in a market that's similar to 2007, where prices went up so quick? Are you concerned about that market at all?
I'm very concerned. It's not just pricing certainly has a factor, right? I mean, that's
sure.
Well, we're reaching numbers that we've never seen before. And the thing is that not only with that though, but back then we had different banking laws and way that things were done, as you remember. And now that there's preventative measures that have been put in place to try to offset those kind of conditions. So I don't see we've seen that. But however, what we do see is the fact that, I mean, back then we had some high prices, but we had a larger inventory, a lot more homes on the market. Now we're down. I mean, for instance, I did a search for a property for some of my buyers at a price points right around 350. And I looked in both Weber and Davis County, and I found 2 homes. Two homes.
There's only 2 homes. Wow.
I know, 2 homes,
That is just nuts.
Right? You used to do that. You'd probably find 30, 40, 50 maybe. And now it's 2. And we sent an offer into a property that was at 260,000. We went as high as 290. They had 30 offers on the home. They didn't end up accepting our offer. And how do you compete in that? I mean, because then you're asking people now to bring out of pocket, because if we write an offer that says, hey, listen, we'll go X amount over appraised value, then how are they going to come up with those funds? As you know, a lot of lenders, or buyers, I guess I should say, don't have a lot of spare cash set aside. A lot of them are trying to get 100% financing if they can, right? And so now we're asking them to step out that trend that we used to do for years and come up with their own money and throw it at this home that they intend on buying, which I'm not a big fan of, because if you take all your liquid assets and throw them into the home, what happens when things start getting rough and you don't have any reserve because you used all those funds to put into the purchase of the property, right? That to me is kind of scary, because we're almost self-perpetuating this issue because of the lack of inventory. And I don't know. It's very uncomfortable. I'm not comfortable advising people to throw an extra 30 to 40 at an offer, but those people who are getting the homes and those who don't, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're seeing on the lending side.
Well, people ask me if there's a bubble, and I'll tell you, I don't think so, but I'll tell you why. When we had the bubble back in 2007, it was simply because it wasn't lack of inventory. We had the inventory, but the lending guidelines were so loose. I mean, literally, if you had a heartbeat, if you could find a mirror, you could get a loan, you could get financing for 100% financing, no money down for an investment property at a low credit score. It was just insane.
Yeah.
And so that artificially inflated prices of homes because everybody wanted a home.
Right.
And we had the ninja loans, which is no job, no asset. It's just like no income, no job, no asset, ninja. So it's just like, just tell me how much you make, and that's what we use. And I never really got into a lot of those kind of financing areas just because they made me nervous. But they were out there, and a lot of people were doing those.
Yeah.
And we're not in that environment now. We are in an environment where you have the simple economic principle of supply and demand at work. And you don't have a lot of supply, and you have far more demand, and it's driving prices up. It's driving them up a little higher than I would like to see them go. But that's what's at play right now. So are we going to have a crash? I don't know. I tell people, even if let's say that we did, let's say that prices went down. So in 2007, we had a pretty significant drop. It took it about a year, and they just plunged down. But over the next 3 or 4 years, you were back to that same level, and now we're well above. So earlier in the podcast, you mentioned that we're at levels that we haven't seen before. But almost every year we're at levels that we haven't seen before. We're just at a point where prices are rising pretty rapidly, and so it's just really hard to for people that are in a little bit lower income levels. It really makes it tough for them.
It really is scary, and we are in uncharted waters for sure. I believe in growth, but I think it should be. I don't want government intervention in anything, but I mean, we should try to stabilize things. And I think part of that problem is that the appraisers, how do they justify getting those values, right? I've talked to a few of them. I said, hey, listen, when you're seeing in 1 month's time anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 increase in prices, how can you warrant that? And they'll say, well, I had X amount of offers. I'm like, okay, I get that, and I get supply and demand. However, if you continue to do this, we're going to reach some real big issues, such as where can the first-time home buyer find homes, and what are they going to do? And not only that, it trickles throughout the rest of the housing market, not just the entry level, but also into all levels of the values. I mean, looking around here in Weber and Davis, and all across the Wasatch Front, you're seeing multifamily units, condos, townhomes popping up left and right like crazy, right?
Right.
And it's because they can't get enough going quick enough. Land's so expensive, and there's not really that many builders like there was back in 2006, 7, and 8. I mean, everybody had a truck and a trailer was building homes, right?
Right. That's true.
Seriously, you drove around and everybody's got a lifted truck and a trailer and a hammer, and they're at it. Well, that's not these anymore. We don't see that. And I don't know why, because the market has been going up like this consistently. But I say the last 18 months, it's even got more out of control. But I mean, not everybody's jumping on board. It's almost like you'd want them to give us more options, right? But I've got developers who I'm looking for some land for, and they're looking at X amount cost per door to get in to start the development, but there's not a lot of projects out there that are available, and therefore our inventory levels stay low. But another interesting factor is that you're probably experiencing this too, is that we're getting a lot more people moving out of state into our state. I mean, you look at, for instance, Hill Air Force Base, they're bringing in roughly 4,000 more jobs here in the next couple of years, just because of their different programs that Hill's acquired. And because of that, but there's a lot of other big businesses that are moving here to Utah. Our economy is just on fire, and I don't see it stopping for 2 or 3 or 4 years. And that's a problem.
Well, it's a problem in that there's the prices of homes are probably not going down anytime soon.
No.
Those people that are on the fence and saying, hey, I think I might wait, I think I might wait till prices go down. Well, it's just not going to.
It's the worst thing that they could do, right? I've had like 6 or 7 buyers that say, well, I'm stepping aside. I submitted X amount of offers. Nothing's happening. So I'm going to step aside. Well, good luck, because now it's going to cost you $20,000 or $30,000.
I've had multiple buyers that did that same thing. They just said, I'm going to take a break for a couple months. And I'm just going, but seriously, you really don't want to do that. And then when they jump back in, they're a little shocked at going, well, the houses that I'm looking at now are more expensive. I said, that's exactly why you need to jump on it. So for those that are on the fence, man, it's just like, just bite the bullet. Everybody's going through the same thing on trying to buy these homes, and you just got to play the game right now, or you're just going to pay more. And interest rates, I don't know if we want to talk about interest rates, but since
I don't know what's going to happen.
The interest rates right now the funny thing is we've heard interest rates are low. We've heard that for the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but they're crazy low. Yep. And I'm telling you, this is not going to last. The quantitative easing, where the government's buying mortgage-backed securities, they're still doing it, but they say they're going to stop, and that's artificially keeping rates low. And when that comes to an end, you're not going to have as much demand for those mortgage-backed securities, which is going to drive rates up. So
that's going to be a real scary thing there. You know what I mean? I mean, because the people's buying power right now is pretty high because of that. And you take that factor out of this equation, it's going to be scary, I think. And just imagine this. Look at what a young family's going to do. People who are maybe facing some economic challenges. What's going to happen to them? Their purchasing power is going to get smashed. And then what are they going to go? And they're forced into rentals. But then you look at rent rates. And
they're going up.
They are. Their rent's more than buying a home, and you build no equity in it. Right? There's no tax advantages. You can't keep up with the market as far as its inflation and pricing. That's one way to offset all this, is try to get on board and just go for the ride. And like you said, people say, are we in a bubble? I don't see a bubble. I don't. I just see more and more people moving in, and prices continue going up. If there's nobody there to say, officiate in a sense on this and kind of suppressing those prices, who knows where we're going to go. Yeah.
So you had mentioned to me, I'm sorry, I'm going to switch subject on you.
That's fine.
We had talked about a little bit before the podcast that where does your business come from?
Oh, okay. Well, several different sources. Either they come from family or friends. They'll come through some kind of marketing that we're doing, whether it's social media, whatever. They'll come through listings. They'll also come through some lead generations that we paid for. And sometimes people just get them off the signs. They'll see, something out there we posted on a home, or maybe some other kind of source, and that's how we're getting most of the business.
Well, that sounds, I noticed you had mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that when you first got in, you went out and were knocking doors. Is that still something?
Yeah, I don't do it. I mean, I'm not opposed to anything. There's some people who have a hard time. I mean, just for instance, I'll cold call too, homeowners, and just try to say, hey, listen, we got something for you as far as a free estimate to value, or let you know what's going on in the market, or whatever the case may be. I'm not opposed to that. It doesn't scare me or bother me. I just think that it's just a service that we're extending to people. Knocking on doors, done it in the past. I don't mind doing it. Whatever's productive, really. It's kind of neat to go out and to meet with people and kind of get their take, their insight, their feelings, which helps me as an agent to know a little bit more about what people's thoughts are, so I can better service my sellers and buyers. So whatever, avenue works, I'm all for it.
It's probably a little more tough to do some of those type of tactics like door knocking during a pandemic. Imagine some people are a little more standoffish. I know some people like don't care, like not a big deal.
Yeah.
You have both sides of that fence. Some people are like really standoffish, and some people are like, yeah, don't talk to me,
Uh-huh.
but it's probably just causes it's just one more challenge in the
Well,
market.
and that's a good point. And that's why I probably haven't done as much face to face. I mean, I'm not, this doesn't bother me really, but you see people, some of your friends in that, are really avid, staunch, watch out, we're all going to die kind of things. And so the productivity of knocking on doors probably isn't the best right now, because you just don't know what you're going to get, right? And it's already tough enough to go around and knocking on doors, but to put that factor into the equation as well, probably not the best time to be doing that kind of marketing.
Right. So I know that you've been in the business, I think you said 17 years.
Yeah.
So, the marketing and the way you do business is like completely different from 17 years ago to today.
Oh, go.
It's so much more technology driven. So
Uh-huh.
what is a favorite thing that you do that's technology driven? I'm assuming you're in the business and you're doing really well. So I'm assuming you're using technology. What are the things that you like to?
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up because, they used to have those paper little thin pamphlets that you see at all the gas stations, and that would have your listings in there. Remember those?
Yeah, I totally remember those. Yeah.
Run newspaper ads and stuff, right? 3 lines is going to cost me such $50 or something. Or you run it on KSL and you get all these calls. That's gone. And so now what I try to do is to create infomercials, in a sense, just kind of talking about what's going on in the market, put it on Facebook, just try to introduce some ideas or concepts to people, help them understand, try to do a value add, and see what that will do. We'll get some questions off it. And so that's one avenue that we're trying more of, and then also just putting out more information as who we are. And of course, the internet, got several websites, as well as Facebook, Instagram, just being out, like you say, just create more presence.
Cool. So you're active in social media?
Yeah. As
Cool.
much, without being, it's hard because social media, I've learned is more about friendships. What did I do? Where'd my family go? Who got married?
Hence the word social, right?
Bingo, right? And then here you come, hey, you want to buy a home? People like, get out of here. So
I think people are used to some of that now. It's just like people know that if you're on social media, if that's all you did on social media was, hey, you want to buy a home? Hey, you want to buy a home? Hey, you want to buy a home? They're like going to totally ignore you. But if you just remind people now and then that, hey, I'm an agent if you need some help, or hey, I'm a lender, or hey, I'm a car salesman, hey, I'm selling lipstick, hey, whatever it is. I think it's okay to do that, but you don't want to like every single post and every single day and every single because it takes the social out of it.
It does, and like you said, people get sick of it. So I try to salt and pepper it. Interject family activities, other kind of social things in there with what's going on in the market. I always try to do a value add kind of thing, not just buying and selling, but maybe give them a story of a client that we helped. Try to show them some techniques that they can use when they're selling or buying a home. Just try to provide some kind of assistance, because I think honestly, since the advent of all the internet and stuff like that, it's kind of devalued what agents do, because I can go online and read what an agent does or what I need to do, and unfortunately, I think some people take that as gospel truth about everything. And there's some bad agents who have caused issues for us all, as well as lenders and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. There's good,
right,
bad, and it doesn't matter whether it's lenders or real estate agents, or I mentioned car salesmen, or doesn't really matter. You have some really rock stars and people that are there to really help. And then you have the typical salespeople that's like,
Yeah.
hey,
Right.
so you have it in any industry.
Yeah, it is. And so, I mean, keeping that in mind, I try to not be that approach because you can't really be sincere and honest, about it and address people's needs, because that to me is I just tell people I'm more of a consultant. You tell me what you're looking for and we'll fill in the blanks and I'll take you along this journey. Because if you feel like, you have anxiety or concerns or worries, then we need to address those and help you make this as easy as possible. Because it's for the most part, it's your biggest purchase you're going to make or item you're going to sell, right?
Right.
And to have some assistance, because I've got sellers, so I can sell my own. Well, fine, you can, and great, best of luck to you. But maybe you left some money on the table, or maybe there's some other things you could have addressed to enhance the property or protect yourself, or whatever the case may be. Because I've seen things over the years that would frighten most people if they really knew what's going on. I'm sure you have as well. But I guess, some people are just willing to take the risk in a sense because of ignorance, and that's fine. It's your home, do what you want kind of thing. But we're just here to say, hey, listen, to offer some stability in the market, because one big thing, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's kind of like a pet peeve of mine. We have Zillow, Trulia, Redfin, resources for people, and they think that's gospel truth, right?
Right, exactly.
Estimate, totally not real.
I'll be honest. I've been to some of those sites to look up values of properties, and I looked at my house one day, and I went, "Man, if I could sell my property for that, it's just like I would sell it today." So,
yeah, and then I get people calling me off those sites and say, hey, I'm interested in this home. I look it up. Oh yeah, it was sold a year ago.
yeah, I know. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, I know, right? But I'm just saying that, when this all ties in, hopefully to you and I and our professions, is that, I can go online and get a loan. I can go online to find information. I don't need an agent and all those kind of things. And I just really feel over the years that what you and I do has become less and less important overall. And you kind of feel bad, because if they really knew how hard we work for them and how much time we spend.
Right. And I don't think that it's that we are less and less important. I think we are even more important for the right people. If it's just somebody that's just trying to get the best deal, and they're shopping online, more power to them.
Yeah.
But they may not be getting the best value, because we in our profession, whether it's real estate or the lending side, we bring value to them, and we bring expertise. You have 17 years, I have 25 years. It's just like you're not going to get that value, and the expertise online. Most of the online places that you're calling, it's like they're picking up the phone and you're basically getting a salesperson that's just trying to close a deal.
Exactly.
They don't have your best interest at heart, which is like you and I, we have their best interest at heart. One, because we've been in the business so long, and two, it's just good business, because when you do right by people, they are going to refer other people to you. And when you don't do right by them, you're going to let everybody know. Right?
Oh, it is and stuff. And that's the hard part, is that, so I've had some clients say, "God, that was easy. I could probably done it on my own." I'm like, well, that's the point. It was easy, right? Because we did the right stuff. We directed you down those paths and stuff, which made it easy for you. Because that's what it shouldn't have been hard. And then when those hard things come up, then they look at you and I as a professional. What are you going to do about it? Well, we're going to do our very best and resolve issues and address other concerns, whatever else comes up. That's our job. And so, we'll take that on and have ownership for it. And then you as our client will be the benefactor for what we are able to do for you. And, because it really is, I think that over time that hopefully people can see the amount of efforts that we do in their behalf is worth something. Because I know that like if there's, for instance, on a lender side, they go to their local credit union or something, and they just get a person there who does the 5 to 9 thing, and there's no vested interest in it, because whether they get the deal done or not, they still going to get paid, right? You and I, if we don't get the job done, we walk away empty-handed. And it's not about the money all the time, but we're going to sure do everything we can, because your family is counting on you providing, so is mine, and I'm counting on getting people's deals done for them.
Yeah, but in the same vein though, we don't, at least, and I'm sure you're the same way, is we don't want to get a deal done to get a deal done. Sure.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
Getting a deal. Yeah.
The deal's getting done because we got happy clients.
Our family.
Yeah.
But at the same time, just like you said, it's just like, we want to do the right thing for you too.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying, is that we're getting the deal done because we're invested in it, right? We want to get you as our client taken care of in that, because I take it very seriously. I've taken phone calls 11 o'clock at night, right? And we're on holiday or on vacations and stuff. I got my laptop there and cranking through stuff and trying to be transparent to make sure those people's needs are taken care of. You can ask any of my family members. They're over there doing whatever, and dad's on the computer or on the phone or whatever the case may be, trying to calm things down or get things taken care of, so that it is transparent. They don't know what's going on, right? And that's fine. I'm okay with that, because this is for me, and for them, it's big. This is a big deal, and they're entrusting our professionalism to help them in their situation. And I don't want to let them down.
So if you had a piece of advice for an agent that is fairly new in the industry, what would that be?
That's a great question, because I've had a few family members said, "Hey, I'm going to do real estate," and I said, "Well, that's fine. Go, jump into it and stuff like that." But it's a lot more challenging than you think. And what I mean by challenging is that what are you going to provide different than anybody else? How hard are you willing to work? I mean, are you a hard worker? Are you going to be doing stuff without somebody sitting over the top of you and getting things done? Are you going to follow up? I mean, what are you going to do? What's your game plan? I mean, I'm here. Okay, great. So you and 5,000 other agents are here as well. And so unless you're going to really have some training, some hard work ethics, and some fortitude, I don't think you're going to make it. I mean, yeah, you might get a couple of quick deals from friends and stuff, but that doesn't pay your bills for the next how many years you plan on being in this business.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that being a real estate agent, it's not like, oh, let's go look at some houses all day. There's just more to it than that.
Oh yeah, and that's the fun part. I really do enjoy going and showing homes and looking at them and stuff like that. But that's kind of like the reward, in a sense, after all the time and effort you put into it, right?
Yeah.
Because without that effort, all the pre stuff, you're not going to get to showing the homes or take the listing. It's all the work that you did prior to that. So without that, I just don't see you're going to be able to have an effective game plan. Just being a pretty face out there, and nothing wrong with that, but it takes more than that. You wait until some things go south on you, and if you don't have somebody who knows what to do or how to handle that situation, that can get ugly really fast.
Yeah, so that's where good mentors and good brokers come.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way for people to contact you?
Well, the easiest way obviously would be my cell phone. That's 801-643-4334. That's attached to me 24/7. You can also go on the internet and just type in my name, Jeff Tomlinson, and Realtor, and you'll pull up my Google webpage there. Also, can go on Facebook, type in hot housing, and that will pull hot housing tips, and that will pull up my Facebook business page. and as well as my name on Instagram, and that will pull up. So those are some good resources, plenty of information out there, to try to get people on the initial starting phase or steps, whatever you want to call them. And then when you got more questions, give me a shout.
Cool. Yeah, I noticed when you said that you have your phone is attached to you. I tell my wife I'm more likely to forget my pants than my phone. So
right. Well, it is, because that is who you are. If people says, well, if you're working for yourself, you get all this free time, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, totally.
I didn't experience that yet.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, it's been great to have you here on the podcast today. I appreciate the words of wisdom and the advice and the mentality of helping other people. I just appreciate that, because so many people want to hold things just so close to the vest. And so appreciate you willing to give to other people and give of your time today.
It's all about the give back, right? It's about going out there and giving all that you can, and just so that people can really know you're sincere about it. You're not just out there to make a quick buck and run off to the next deal. I hope that every time that we walk away after a transaction, we're friends, and
awesome.
We respect each other, and we can walk down some store and bump each other and smile at each other, right? So
right, yeah, it's awesome to be able to make friends with so many people out there. So
yeah,
again, thank you so much.
Hey.
And if there's anybody that, if you want to contact me or my team, give us a call at 801-628-7667. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Just find me, Ron Pippin. And that'll bring to a close another episode of Agent versus Lender.
You've been listening to Agent versus Lender. We put it all out on the table, as you can clearly tell, but that's what makes us unique. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hit us up on Facebook at Pippin Team or Ron Pippin, on Instagram at Ron Pippin 9002. If you have questions or comments, email Ron at thepippinteam.com. This is Agent versus Lender, signing off.